In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Today on Marketing in the Age of AI, I'm joined by Alan Martinez, an AI strategist and fractional CMO who blends storytelling, data, and automation to drive measurable growth. He founded Noble Digital after an early career directing under Quentin Tarantino's commercial division and has led acquisition efforts to produce a $300 million exit in 18 months and help fundraise the climb into the Inc. 5000. Alan builds and scales AI-driven platforms across SaaS, fintech, health, and consumer goods. And he's here to talk about making AI practical, measurable, and repeatable, all noble causes. Alan, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Emmanuel. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your time. Well, so you've built a pretty big customer acquisition system that helped a pretty big scale. Walk me through that system's architecture and how you would do it the same or a little different in today versus how you did it then.
Oh, wow. Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me. I probably should give a little background so you guys you can understand where I'm coming from. I guess you could say I'm a growth strategist, and I'm either building brands from scratch or I walk into chaos and architect clarity. In both situations, my work scales revenue. So in the one example, I architected a $300 million exit for a Shark Tank. And I just recently, I don't know if I didn't know this, but it's actually historically one of the biggest wins of the show ever produced.
Awesome.
To this day. I think they just beat it in March, but it was a couple of years there. And it was actually a benchmark for what Shark Tank companies can actually become. And I repeated that pattern with Fundrise when they got to become an Inc. 5000, Telesign Cybersecurity, when I helped reduce their sales cycle to release tens of millions of revenue that was sitting there in a year-long sales cycle. And I've helped govern brands like USPS in the state of California. And so to answer your question, I don't say my process has changed much. AI just helps me get it sharper and faster and better. And without having to bring like teams of people together to figure it out, I can do quite a lot without my full team that I've been working with for over a decade now at my agency, Noble Digital. And I would say it always comes back to story, and that has nothing to do with AI, right?
Yeah, right.
But what I'm focused on right now is different because AI is creating a new kind of chaos that most marketers haven't named yet. And so I would just say for those who are going to be working with AI or already in AI, I would say do not buy another AI tool this quarter to fix a problem that architecture created. Because here's what's actually happening. In your organization right now, AI is already acting as your brand. So every email it writes, every customer interaction it handles, every response it generates, that's your brand in action, whether leadership intended it or not, right? Yep. So if you don't have sovereignty over that, your brand identity fragments. So that means one system sounds like you, another one doesn't. And it also means that one makes decisions that align with your values while another improvises, and that's where you get into trouble.
Sure.
So what happens is customers can feel it, employees can feel it, but eventually regulators and lawyers are going to feel it because regulations are coming next year, and that's going to change the pressure around that.
Well, what's the first step that you see in terms of a brand lassoing in and getting the shadow AI into the forefront of the brand?
Yeah, so let's talk about the shadow AI and what this looks like in practice. Kind of what I started talking about earlier is that marketing AI emails a customer promising like maybe 24/7 premium white glove support from their dedicated account team. And then 2 hours later, that same customer opens up a support ticket asking about their enterprise entitlement. And then support AI checks the contract tier field and it says, oh, they just have standard because there was a mix-up, right? And it's all automated. Well, this routes them to self-service queue that links them to the help center. And so by 4 p.m., the customer is on the phone with the CEO threatening to cancel a $200,000 contract, right? So by 5 p.m., 3 internal teams are in an emergency Zoom meeting trying to figure out what system was telling the truth. So all this chaos I'm talking about, these are called collisions. If you're an IT person, they talk. These are terms that IT talks about, trying to connect all these things together. And when you have 3 AI systems and 3 definitions of high value customer and 3 different promises to the same person within 40 hours, you got problems, right?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're working from solid SOPs and then creating workflows from SOPs.
Exactly. And in the example that I'm talking about, I mean, you have to understand that each system was working exactly as it was designed, or in this case, not designed for it, like lack of design, right?
Yeah.
So the contradiction stays invisible until it explodes in the customer's inbox. And that's just like one little example, right? But here's the thing. It's not happening at startups with bad engineering. This is happening at companies with sophisticated AI teams who just don't realize they're automating contradictions. So on another podcast recently, I was with a host who runs an AI strategy consultancy. He sells AI implementation to mid-market companies, very sophisticated. And after we finished the recording, he said something that stuck with me. He said, I've been thinking about AI governance for people, policies for employees using GPT, but I've never thought about governance for the AI itself.
Right.
So for the tool. So that's upstream of, where he's been working with his clients. So he brought my book on Kindle right before we hung up on the call.
Nice.
That book is called The Brand Experience AI Operating System, and we can get into that in a minute. But the gap that I keep seeing is repeating itself everywhere. Most AI conversations are about which tools to buy and how to get people to use them, but almost nobody's asking what rules should the AI follow? What does the AI believe about our brand? And what will the AI refuse to even do if a customer asks nicely, right?
Yeah.
If you don't answer those questions, you're not deploying AI. You're deploying 1,000 unsupervised interns who each interpret your brand differently.
That's right. So then what is the process to create those guardrails and make sure that that your AI employees are doing what is on brand?
Yeah, that's a good question. So here's the competitive risk that no one's really talking about. It's every company is using the same base models with the same safety training, giving the same helpful, harmless, and honest answers, which sounds exactly the same. And I call that the C of sameness, right? And the phrase helpful, harmless, and honest has become the new live, laugh, love generic thing you see at the discount store of AI positioning. It means nothing. It differentiates nothing. So customers scroll past your content because it triggers no recognition and no curiosity and no emotional response.
Right.
So you're competing on price because you've commoditized your own positioning, right? So let's say a luxury hotel describes itself as a sanctuary of refined elegance, well, that means nothing to the AI. And when every B2B company promises to empower teams to do their best work, the claim is also wallpaper, right?
Yeah.
So AI didn't create this problem, okay? But the AI at scale is making it worse and faster across more channels than you probably realize. So I think when AI execution gets so cheap and abundant, the only thing that differentiates you really and your brand is taste. What you choose to say, what you refuse to say, and how you sound when the pressure's on. But I would say taste usually lives in the heads of your best people. Your senior copywriter, your VP of brand, your founder's gut instinct when something feels off, right? All those things AI doesn't have access to, right? So it defaults to the average, and the average is forgettable, right? So I call this the taste gap, and it's part of my AI blueprint. And what happens is an example of a successful version of this is Mercedes-Benz understood this. They have a voice assistant called MBUX, and it doesn't just understand voice commands. It actually embodies the brand, which is unique. Mm-hmm. They're thinking ahead. And so when you're driving at 80 miles an hour and ask for navigation, it speaks like with precision and authority, like 500 meters, right? That's fine. But when you're parked and you're like not moving so fast on the highway, now you're asking for a restaurant recommendation. It shifts to a conversational warmth. I found a highly rated Italian place nearby. It has excellent reviews. So it's the same identity, but it's a different expression when you change the context. And the brand doesn't fragment across these contexts, but it actually flexes with boundaries. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. We're talking about building like a playground for the AI to play with. Because if you just do like straitjacket rules, like a lot of engineers will just put it in the straitjacket. Oh, no one's going to get fired for this, but also no one's going to have a great experience with this AI either, right?
Right.
So you have to find that balance. So my whole process is to give it more room and more context. And this is going beyond just, scripts of what do you call it? Brand identity and all that stuff. Like that's all great. And that's what we're doing. We're doing this manually right now, right? We're doing this. Like today you can go to Canva and you can say, this is my brand guideline. You put it in there. So everything that you design, you don't have to think about it. It's already on brand. It's using the colors. And it's going to be like that. With these kind of AI systems that I'm talking about, you won't. People think, oh, you're going to take my job away. It's not going to take your job away. What's going to happen is you're going to be able to do your actual work and not have to worry about the brand ambassador slapping you on the wrist when you're off brand, so to speak.
Right. So, like right now, when I create a custom GPT in chat, I've got a copywriting blueprint. I've got my LLM exclusion words. I have a soul document, which is my personal view of the world.
Right.
I have the top 5 neuromarketing books that I like, links to those authors and their works, and then I have links to my books. So
exactly.
What's missing from that milieu of guiding documents?
Great point. And this is the part where everyone's probably leaning in, like, how are you going to do this, Al? So the key insight here is this: traditional software is deterministic. It does exactly what you tell it to do. If you want it to say hello, it says hello every time. But AI is probabilistic. It interprets what you tell it. It generates outputs based on patterns, and it reasons from principles. So if you govern AI the same way you govern software, with strict if-then scripts, you put it in a straitjacket, right? So it feels robotic, and people wonder why you even bother with AI at all, right?
Right.
So if you give the AI principles instead of scripts, something changes. It can adapt now to situations that you didn't explicitly program for, because you can't think of every possible situation. It's like the difference between like love thy neighbor, which is like one principle, and 10 commandments, which is like these strict rules. If you follow love thy neighbor, you're probably going to cover all 10 commandments, right?
Right.
So it's that kind of idea. So you don't want to hand the AI a script. You want to give it a constitution.
Right.
A script tells the AI what to say. A constitution tells it who to be.
And how to act. Yeah.
Right. So this is the layer most companies skip. They jump from buy AI tools to automate workflows without ever defining what the AI believes, what it values, and what it refuses to do. By the way, what does it sound like, Emmanuel? Do you remember when websites came out 20 years ago? I mean, for those who don't know, who are a little bit younger than us, it was a mess. You have to change your logo on 50 pages. You change it 50 times. There was no CMS to replicate that. There was no system at all. And so right now AI needs a system. So you have to think about it that way, because, it's also similar to building a website without brand guidelines or messaging guidelines. It's just pure chaos. So we're in the same place with AI. And, if you're serious about AI inside your company, you need an operating system. And that's what the book is really getting into.
Oh, that's nice. And what's the name of the book?
The Brand Experience AI Operating System.
All right. And is it going to be available on your alanmartinez.com?
Yeah, it's going to be, no, it's on Amazon, December 23rd, just next week from this talk. I don't know when this talk's coming out, but so it'll be available. And I think to kind of summarize what I've been talking about here, so everyone kind of grasps what we're talking about. This whole thing is called the shadow ledger, right? And that means these are all these symptoms kind of put together. And I have like a diagram. It's like a kind of a pyramid in the book, and you kind of work your way through the pyramid. Very much a design thinking principles type of book, something like the business model canvas for AI, right? And so every AI program runs a second set of books, operational liabilities that stay hidden until they blow up, right? So the first gap you have to kind of get into and resolve is the governance, which we've been talking about. This is the hard dollar burn. Believe it or not, teams spend 15 to 25 hours every week fixing conflicting AI outputs, doing it manually, right? Reworking ungoverned decisions, managing those collisions, right? And if we're talking about a mid-market size company, we're talking about $150 to $200 an hour, fully loaded. That's like $200 to $400K a year in shadow labor, just for a single workflow collision. That's the first gap. The second gap is accountability. When your regulators or customers ask, why did the AI make that decision? You have to reconstruct from memory, Slack threads, incomplete logs. That's how it is now, right? Again, like changing the logo 50 times, right? You don't have receipts when you need them. And the absence of proof reads as guilt to the regulators and enterprise buyers, right? So, and I know some of you are wondering, what am I talking about here? Like, you understand something. My partners are in Europe, so I'm already ahead of where this is all going. the European Union is years ahead of the states on regulation. It'll come to the U.S. eventually. It's coming to Colorado and California next year. I know there's a little White House debate about that. They're fighting that, but I mean, regardless, if they win that, it'll be coming next year. And so the point I'm trying to make is forget about the government where they say you want to regulate yourself anyways. You want control over the system. Yeah.
Right.
So
it's your brand.
Hold your AI liable and control it at scale.
Yeah.
Stop that chaos.
Yeah, I love it. Well, so you got you're focused on the governance and on the systems and
accountability.
Yeah.
And the third thing is identity, which we covered, which is that taste gap.
Yeah.
And that's where the voice splinters across all those touch points, where NPS scores drop 8, 12 points over 6 months. And that's your trust walking out the door. So these three gaps don't exist in isolation. They compound. They go in both directions. They compound in a bad way or compound in a good way. If you ignore them, they go into negative. And if you actually control that, you actually get to the capstone of my triangle, which is brand advantage. Because once you take care of this bottom layer, like this is going to be what I would say. Hopefully, within a year or two, it'll be pretty much standard, right? It'll be table stakes. Right now, it's all new to everybody. But once you get that working, then you can start to worry about that capstone. Just like with websites, once we moved it from IT to design thinking, now it became like, how do people actually feel when they're on the website? Well, the same thing. How does people actually feel with their AI? Not just like, oh, we passed that regulation, or oh, my boss didn't, legal didn't kill our AI. Like we have to go beyond that, right?
Right.
And I will say, most organizations will discover it the hard way. A compliance inquiry they can't answer, or a customer escalation that reveals systems contradicting each other. Yeah. Or maybe even a boardroom meeting where someone asks, how do we know the AI system isn't making promises we can't keep? And then the room goes silent. Like that's,
or releasing personal identifiable information into the LLM.
Exactly. Yeah. So let me make this concrete, because I know we don't have a lot of time left, but I would just say, imagine a support agent that's told to reduce churn, right? No constitution. That's just one objective. But what will it learn? That issuing credits reduces churn fast. So it starts giving away money.
Yeah, right.
Now that's not brand strategy. That's a runaway algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Now you give it a constitutional charter. Now, first you acknowledge the customer's emotion, right? Second, you offer a fix, and then third, you offer a credit if the customer's lifetime value is above a threshold, or if the error was on our side, right? And then you have a red line. If the customer asks more than 3 times, then you escalate to a human, right? So you didn't remove its agency. You gave it a compass, and that's the difference. So the AI can still adapt and learn. It can still be warm or firm, depending on the situation. It can still exercise judgment, and is still exercising judgment within boundaries that reflect your brand values, right? Yeah. So the constitutional charter defines what your AI can do, must do, and what it can never do. So we're talking about permissions, obligations, and prohibitions. And the principles make agency safe. They make judgment predictable, and they turn a fast system into a fast and aligned system.
All right. I love it. Well, that is, I'm looking forward to your book coming out. I'm looking forward to grabbing it off Amazon and seeing how I can adapt and adopt some of the things that you're talking about.
Absolutely. And I think I should probably leave everybody maybe with something they could take away, which is I'll give you a link for the book, but I'll also give you a link where they can actually look at, fixing this themselves and seeing where they are. I have a kind of like a self-assessment tool to see how ready you are for AI or not. And I can give you that link, and people can kind of take a look at that and do the test and see if they're ready and what they're missing and some of the gaps they need to kind of dig into.
Absolutely. We'll make that available in the show notes. You can have your AI readiness test, right?
Yeah.
All right. Absolutely. That sounds good. Well, Alan, congratulations on completing the book, getting it published, because that's no small feat. And I really am grateful for your time today, and good luck. Good luck with the book and your clients.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Alan. Well, that's good. Good foundational application of guardrails and a process by which to implement them. So I recommend you take a look for Alan's book, which will be linked in the show notes. Hope you got value from today. I know I did. I also hope that you take some time to spend with the LLM of your choice and build a custom tool for yourself, or you find another tool that can help to save you time and energy from your work week. And that with that time, you continue to upskill, that you get together with your friends and family and that you get outside into nature, away from the screens. This is Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn.